Good morning. The market is correcting. The Titanic is sinking. It's bear market again. It's over. The NFT hype was the top. Selling an Ether rock for 1.3 million is actually just crazy. That is all what's currently happening in the markets, but it's also just a very healthy correction. We're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into a few altcoins in this update. But before that, do not forget to subscribe beneath, like the YouTube update, and do not forget to check out our platform. We've been taking excessive profits on our positions, or me personally, in the past days before we started to correct. Those movements or those profits are going to be locked into new positions when we hit support. If you want to follow that, do not forget to check out the platform in the description beneath. When we are looking at Bitcoin at this point, it's nicely following the path. So what I mean by that is that the crucial area for me to break was that 51k level, as price has been reacting many times towards that area. And we can see that we've had those reactions over on the structure between February and May. We couldn't really see a breakthrough as we tested it for the first time. So this entire region of resistance is still acting as resistance. Well, right now, a potential bearish divergence is being there or playing out. But the bearish divergence only becomes valid if it cracks the recent higher low. So this bearish divergence plays out if it loses 44k, and then we could say, okay, we're going to see 35, we're going to see possibly a new retest. So as long as the structure stays like this, at 44k, might scoop a wick towards 43, but overall 44k, 43k, that is the area that I find very important to watch for any market continuation to be happening. Until then, this is just a very healthy correction. You could say that if 43k is lost, the next area around 30k is the critical zone. That is true, but first we have to get to 44k. So all in all, this correction on Bitcoin, what's happening right now, is just quite normal. Nothing goes on in a straight line. So having such a corrective move is just very normal to be expecting. And therefore we're going to dive into the lower time frames to see what we're having there. And I said yesterday on Twitter, people are flip-flopping their bias quite fast, given the fact that we witnessed this beautiful bounce up from support here. We bounced back up. However, in this entire structure, we see deviation, rejection, lower high, lower high. That was not the case yet, but this recent higher low was broken, through which we got a new lower high, right? So in this case, especially if you see the structure here on the left, we make lower highs, we break this structure. Next area of test is this one. So we break the structure here. The next area of a real test is definitely this zone, but overall we are going to look at this critical level around 44k to see whether we sustain the entire structure that we have. And that is also confirming the area that I just showed between 43 to 44.5k. When we're looking at this structure further, we see those lower highs. We see a bounce from support here. We got this beautiful bounce, but the entire critical level that we had to break through was this region. So we had to crack that level around 49k to actually pass further towards new highs. It didn't, and then it usually reverses in a very natural and heavy way. We can see the same here. Bounces on support all the way towards resistance, breaks back south towards the next level of support. Where are we currently? I think we are in this stage. So I think that we are getting a swift bounce back up relatively soon if we do sustain above 46.3. So this region is where I think we could be getting a bounce back up. If we do get a bounce, the level that you should be watching is the entire region here around 48k. If that rejects again, then I'm seeing this corrective move happening. So that's a very simple chart analysis that I'm looking at right now. If we look at the higher time frames, I can still conclude that the scenario that I have here is pretty much what we are looking at with the markets. in which this entire support zone could generate such a range-bound construction. And when we get such a range-bound construction, you most likely will see strength coming across the markets on the altcoins once again. But most of those altcoins are also correcting right now, as they didn't really see any correction at all. So when we're looking at a few of those altcoins, Ethereum, first one, don't have too much to update on Ethereum, given that it's just showing the path that we also had. So Ethereum rejects at 34, critical level just like Bitcoin at 51k, comes all the way back down again. I'm looking at that range around 29 for the potential test to be happening at this stage. If that sustains support, most likely Bitcoin will sustain support around 44k, and then we just have some sideways range structures before we break out and go all the way towards 4k. If this level is lost, 26 is the next one. But if you're looking at coins like Avax, for instance, you're looking at a structure that is just highly impulsive, meaning, of course, we could have a bounce back up here if Bitcoin makes a small and slight bounce further. But overall, such a straight vertical candle is not an entry point for you to look at. Usually we will see a heavier correction happening to the markets at this stage, given that there is such a big impulse wave to the upside. So we're looking at levels around 37.5 to potentially the level that we're currently acting on, this entire range, but I'm mostly looking at 37.5. Also, we are looking at $30 as the next level and the range low, which is around 23. Those are levels that you should be watching, and those are granting you opportunities that have lower risk involved and potentially a higher return. I'll make an update on that later, but that is where you should be looking at with Avax, for instance, on a daily time frame. If you're looking at the 1 hour time frame or the 2 hour time frame, you get the same conclusion as what we just drawn on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Currently, we might be getting on a support level through which this might be an entry for the scalp towards this entire region here. If you are a day trader, for instance, this might be a nice scalp entry for you to trade. It's about 20%. But if we get there, the market is still making a lower high, so Bitcoin could still grant you an opportunity that once we get in the 48k zone, you might be seeing another drop down happening towards support at 44k, meaning that probably people will turn bullish again at resistance, only to get smacked down once again. Does it mean that you should be taking the entry right now on altcoins already? Most of you are swing trading. So the example that I just gave on Avax is a day trade opportunity. If you're swing trading, Avax is not an entry. You have to be patient for the coming weeks before you can take that entry. And maybe the entry will not come for months. That is part of the game. If Bitcoin is correcting towards 44k, that is the area, if we get there, that I would be looking for swing longs once again. Right now, I'll just be looking for day trade longs instead of swing trade longs, especially given that the market has seen such a big impulse wave. Ethereum has almost gone 2x. Cardano has been going ballistic. Multiple layer 1s have been going crazy. Bitcoin has gone up 80%. It's time for that normal corrective move, meaning that if you have taken some profits, then you can get beautiful re-entries in a very short term or short period from here. And I think the last part of this year are going to be crazy. I hope you have enjoyed this update. I'll see you again tomorrow or later today for a fresh new one. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day.